This is Oppo's A78 5G, and let me explain why this may be the best budget smartphone choice in 2023. Let's begin with the design. It's a squared edge design that we have seen most manufacturers return to time after time. However, I like this design option as when the device is in your hand, you really notice the grip and you can really feel like it's not going to slip out of your hand compared to a curved edge design that we've seen with some other phone manufacturers. Down the right hand side, you'll find your side mounted fingerprint sensor, which is indented into the side of your device. This allows you to easily feel where it is and able to recognize it without even looking. This allows for easy access and able to use it to unlock your smartphone or using Google Pay. The fingerprint sensor is responsive and works about 9 out of 10 times when tested. Just make sure to register the edge of your thumb, and I would say you're only going to register your thumb and not your finger, so I very much doubt you're going to register your finger on this device. Switching to the left hand side, you'll locate your volume controls and have access to your SIM tray. This is a 5G model device and can support dual SIM or expand your storage with a micro SD card. Turning to look at the bottom of your device, you'll notice a feature that has been removed from many other devices, and that's the ability to use headphones, thanks being connected through a 3.5mm headphone jack. And for me, this is a big plus, because if you like listening to your music and don't want to use the dual stereo speakers, you can plug in some headphones and away you go. Next to the 3.5mm jack is your USB-C connection. This is a 2.0 connection. This gives you the ability to charge your device or connect into a PC or Mac to share your photos or move data around. So talking about charging your device, it won't take too long at all to charge this impressive 5000 mAh battery. Just 30 minutes of charging will get you 52%, and 67 minutes of charging will get you 100%, which is really impressive. I think I was around 72 minutes when charging. Obviously using plug and the wire provided will really make sure you get to that 67 minutes of charge. You're able to get these impressive times thanks to Oppo's own 33 watt Super VOOC charging, which means you're able to game up to 7.5 hours. You're able to be on calls for 22.5 hours if you wish, or enjoy watching videos for a whopping 16 hours, which is really impressive. And we have to mention the glow or the shimmer and shine that you may have noticed on this device as I'm turning it around and showing you the different features available. And that's because this has the Oppo's black glow. So it's a glow option that comes and it gives a shimmer and a shine, and there's loads of different textures on this device, which I really like. They also have other color options available, and make sure to check my link in the video description. So let's take a further look at what your eyes will be glued to all the time while you're either gaming or swiping through TikTok and other social media channels. If you have time when going through all these social media channels, make sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell to stay updated once I release new videos. So on with the details. This is a LCD 6.56 6-inch HD Plus display with a resolution of 1612 by 720, which gives you a pixel density of 269 pixels. It has the option to vary the refresh rate with a maximum of 90Hz with the option to switch between 60 and 90. So this is noticeable when scrolling through X, or other known as Twitter, or other text-heavy websites. Please note, using 90Hz will impact your battery, but not as much as your screen brightness. So on this display, you have a peak brightness of 480 nits, or a maximum brightness under sunlight at 600 nits, which will lead to battery draining faster than expected. However, with that Super VOOC charging, you can charge it back up and away you go. So the display is formed of a panda glass which has been reinforced, and when it comes to a dusty or wet weather, it offers the minimal protection of IP54. So really that's only sort of splash protection, so please be careful when you're out and about or near a lake or near heavy rain. Alongside the large display, it's also paired with dual stereo speakers, so you can sit back and enjoy your content when and wherever you are. I would say the sound is great at a middle level, so about the 50% it sounds great. Not as good as the higher levels, so best option is either to connect headphones via the 3.5mm headphone jack or by Bluetooth with Bluetooth 5.3 technology. At the end of the day, the choice is yours, and these are just my personal thoughts. So let's bring the rear camera and the front facing camera into focus. Starting with the rear camera, it offers a main camera of 50 megapixels with an f1.8 aperture, a field of view of 77 degrees, and an AF autofocus lens. And that's paired with a 2 megapixel f2.2 aperture, and that's more your depth lens. lens, so you have two different options there available. Please note the 50 megapixel has an AI option which can be toggled on or off to help improve your photos. When it comes to video recording, on your rear facing camera you're able to record at full HD at 30 frames per second or 720p at 30 frames per second, and front facing you've got 1080p at 30 frames per second or at 720p at 30 frames per second, and slow motion option is supported at 720p with 120 frames per second. So please note as well, I found with testing the camera there's a lot more features for the rear sensors than there are the front facing sensors, and this is pretty normal, and especially because this is a budget device. But on the rear camera you can expect such things as night options, videos, photos, portrait, expert, extra HD, panoramic, time-lapse, slow motion, sticker, text scanner and Google Lens. So you do have a lot more options there, and some of those features are available on your front facing camera. So switching to our front facing camera, it's an 8 megapixel sensor with a f2.0 aperture and a field of view at 77 degrees, and it's a fixed focus. Also built into the front facing camera you'll find the option to unlock your device with facial recognition, and there's not really much to shout about the front facing camera. It looks very dark sometimes, especially in certain lights, so please be careful, or always maybe select that rear camera and ask someone to take a photo for you. So finally, let's talk about the power and performance that you see in this device. So this device runs ColorOS 13 based on Android 12, and I believe Oppo's UI is okay, but it's still room for improvement and functionality. Navigating through the system and the apps is sluggish at times, and it flies at others, which can be really frustrating. You expect your phone to work simultaneously all the time without issues, and then sometimes for it to be a little bit sluggish or stutter can be really annoying. I do believe this will get a push to Android 13, but don't expect a push to Android 14 when it's released. Its CPU is the impressive MediaTek 6833, which is 7 nanometers in size, 8 cores and speeds of up to 2.2 GHz. The GPU for running games and performance is a Mali G57 MC2 at 950 MHz. There are two different models available of this device though, so I have the 128 GB of storage with 4 GB of RAM, or you could choose 128 GB of storage with 8 GB of RAM. So the choice is yours to have, and then you can add extra storage if you wish. As I've previously mentioned, you can use your micro SD card slot. So with so much RAM, you're able to run all the apps and games and videos you need. With Oppo's RAM expansion, you can convert available ROMs, so your storage, to RAM. This will allow for on-demand support for high demanding apps and reducing lag. So maybe this is where it's best to choose the 8 GB of RAM option over the 4 GB that I have here, and that may lead to the lagging and the stuttering issues that I had previously during some of my testing. Well, that's a lot to take in, and my thoughts are that you get a device that can last you all day thanks to an impressive 5000 mAh battery, and it does last me all day with all the social medias, with all the different apps that I run, going through checking it multiple different times an hour, not a day. I can actually last all day, which is great. One of the little letdowns is that you've got an LCD display, but you've got to remember the price point, and coming onto the price point here, that's when you start to think, okay, that's got an LCD display over a more powerful AMOLED display. However, paired with a CPU that can keep doing what you want to do, with the RAM expansion tool that allows you to take from your storage to increase your RAM, give you more performance, and then when you do run out of charge, with just a mere 30 minutes you're able to get up to 52% of charge. It's just enjoyable. I honestly think it's an enjoyable smartphone. I haven't had too much of a negative experience. The slight issue I have had is when it comes to ColorOS and the UI that Oppo choose. Obviously it's based off Android, but their overlay is ColorOS, and I just find that this is letting down the device. It can stick at times and stutter, and apart from not having all the accessible features that you are used to expecting or must have now on an Android device, I would say they're the only little letdowns I found, and I would be more than happy to use this without question. Which all of these specs and features I've mentioned, you may wonder what the price is, and it depends on where and when you're watching this video. At the moment, at the time of filming, this device is between £180 and £200. So everything I've said before this point, you would say maybe £300-400. So it's really good to see all of these features, all these specs for half the price you may be expecting. So what do you think? I leave you with a question. Do you think that the Oppo A78 5G is 2023's budget phone of the year? I'm waiting to hear from you. From me, Ricky, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.